Well, 2020 is going to be hell for all FGO players. Lots of amazing servants, both new and returning, like Jolter and Musashi. New servants like Semiramis, Okita Alter, Hokusai, who's coming out in just a few days. So, unless you're swimming in money, you'll probably have to prioritize some servants over others. Can't collect them all. Well, to help you out, here are the top 5 new SSR servants you should summon for 2020. If you have the luck and Saint Chords, that is, cause E-rank luck can be a bitch! Keep in mind, this is for gameplay reasons, not waifu or husbando reasons. I'll make a list for that later. Also, this is just my opinion. Agree or disagree, it's up to you. Another thing I want to say, these servants I'm recommending aren't without flaws, and just because I didn't recommend a specific servant does not mean they are useless, so don't freak out on me. But before we get started, I wanted to give an honorable mention to 2 servants that did not make the list, but I personally think they were pretty good. So, a lot of people says she sucks. Tier list says it, other reviewers say it, but I disagree with them. Okita Alter deserves a lot more credit, so you know I'm not just jumping on tier list bandwagons. But I will not ignore her weaknesses either. Now, she isn't getting an honorable mention because of waifu reasons. Far from it. She's not even in my top 15. First off, I feel like people disregard strong farming servants like farming isn't what we do in this game. Don't get me wrong, CQ servants are equally as important, but I can guarantee you, now don't lie, you'll use a farming servant way more than a CQ one. Okita Alter is a buster and quick focus servant with a buster and quick buffing skill, which means majority of her attacks are enhanced. She has a 30% NP battery with a star absorbing skill. If you can provide the stars, this can be used to deal good damage against bosses. Finally, she has an NP damage buff with a one-hit evasion skill. That's great because you aren't sacrificing an evasion for the damage boost. But it also means she can't dodge multiple NPs at once. Her own NP is an AoE that decreases buster resistance after the damage, so a Buster Brave along with crit damage can really hurt a boss. She's effective against cavalry enemies and foreigners if by chance you fight them, meaning she's effective against 4 different classes, not including berserkers. Okita Alter can dish out good damage and has amazing synergy between her skills, NP, and command cards. Now, Alter Ego is a double-edged sword, rendering her useless against knights. Also, she does less damage compared to servants with official class advantage. Overall though, her skills are basic and simple, but that doesn't mean it's bad. She's good for mixed CQ battles among cavalry enemies, and like I mentioned before, she's a great farmer, but her biggest weakness is that Alter Ego class, and she isn't as effective against single break bar bosses, which is why she isn't on the list, but she is not a horrible servant like most people say. Oh, this hurts my soul! But Summer Jean did not make the list. She was close. It was between her and the servant in 5th place. By a slight margin, Jean lost in my opinion. Jean Archer is an arts servant. Her first skill buffs her arts performance while giving a 2-hit invincibility. We all know how great those are. This increases her survivability and the skill's on a 5-turn cooldown. Something to take note of, you aren't sacrificing her dodge skill for the buff. Activate her arts buff anytime and the invincibility will last until she is attacked. Although, be a bit cautious, it only lasts for 3 turns, and again, the cooldown at max is 5 turns. Her second skill has a 40% NP battery while increasing her NP strength, so that's 2 buffs for her NP if you include her first skill. The crit buff is nice, but being on waterside field, it's unreliable, though she does have naturally high star weight due to her archer class. But if you're on a waterside or a beach field, she does charges 3% NP every turn with her passive skill. On top of that, she has a charisma-like skill, further increasing servants with good alignments. This doesn't apply to herself because she's lawful summer. That's still 3 damage boosts from her skills. Her NP is an AoE that has a 20-30-like effect, giving you 10 stars and upwards for 3 turns. Combining all her buffs, she can deal good damage with her NP, and if there's 3 enemies, it'll give her more NP refund, so there's spamming potential there. Put her with Tamamo, and you'll be able to use her NP quite often. She's a solid servant and a great archer. The only reason why she didn't make the top 5 is because there's so many amazing archers already in the game. It's kind of saturated, so not really required if you have plenty of archers already. A servant that just beat Summerjean by a small margin, but like I said, archers are saturated, but anti-berserkers is something everyone can use. Hokusai is the second of the 3 foreigners in this game, but I'm not just recommending her because of her class. One of the best skills in the game is her 3rd skill. Every single freaking time you attack with her arts, the enemy will get hit with a defense down. Perform an NP Arts Brave with her, that's 10 to 20% defense down in 1 turn that lasts for 3 turns, meaning you can stack that shit. It's normal to see an enemy have 5 or more defense downs, depending on RNG. To add more awesomeness to her, she has an AoE NP attack, which by the way, increases damage against enemies with attributes of man, which is basically a lot of servants. More importantly, when combined with her 3rd skill, it acts as an AoE debuff. Hokusai can increase arts performance, and she does have a 30% NP battery. Her evasion lets her survive NP attacks, and she has some awesome passives as well, like an arts boost and being able to generate 2 stars every turn. The real issue with her is that Hokusai deals neutral damage to most enemies. Most classes already has effectiveness against berserkers, so her only real advantage is that resist damage against them, which is why she's lower on the list, but Hokusai is an excellent servant to use, regardless of class advantages. It's more so a bonus than a strength. Coming at 4th place, we have Summer BB. Like Hokusai, she's lower on the list because she's typically a neutral servant against enemies. I mean, how often do you really fight against Avengers? Still, her skills more than makes up for everything. Now, I want to talk about her famous 3rd skill, which locks the command card selection for 3 turns. It looks amazing on paper, not saying it isn't great, but I feel like most players hype the skill to unbelievable heights. First, it's really dependent on card RNG. You don't want to use this unless you can synergize it well with skills and Ps, or if you have the desired cards. If you use this skill the wrong way, it means you are locked out of options for 3 turns, unless you use the card shuffle effects from the Mystic Code, which you won't always equip. A few examples of how this skill can hurt. Let's say you want to Brave Chain with a specific servant. That means the other 2 servants will lack any progression from attacks. They won't be charging their MPs or creating any stars. They aren't attacking in general. Basically, they'll just sit there aside from support skills, maybe an NP or 2. You may ask, well, they may have an attack or 2 that they can offer, which can help, oh, don't get me wrong, but why would you want to lock the command cards if you didn't desire a 3-turn Brave Chain with the chosen servant? Kind of see what I'm getting at? You have to factor a lot of things. For example, will the situation change forcing you to use the other servants to attack, but since you lock the command cards, they can't really benefit from, attacking as much. Or, let's say you do want the specific servant to, attack with a Brave Chain often. Now you have to consider, will they absorb the stars the most, or will the other 2 servants take the stars away from them? Let's say you have an art or a quick chain with everyone, even a buster chain can work. You can start spamming the bonus, but again, it will lock you out of other options. Let's say you now want to perform a Brave Chain with BB because she can deal a lot of crit damage. Well, you'll have to wait 3 turns. So like I said, you only want to use the lock ability if you have a strategy you want to commit for a few turns. Now, if you do have a tactic, the lock ability can really benefit you. Let's say you have 2 Merlins and BB. You can lock arts chains between the 3 to charge NP like no tomorrow, or if you're getting lots of stars already, lock in BB's Brave Chain for massive crit damage. So this skill is amazing, but not without drawbacks or being cautious. That's basically what I'm saying. Then again, FGO isn't a hard game, even if you screw up the lock timing or strategy, whatever. It's not like you're gonna die or anything. Moving on, BB is a crit servant, being able to boost damage and gather rates up to 468, which exceeds Riders. She has a 50% NP battery that heals 3k HP, buffs both Buster and NP damage, also giving her a one-hit evasion. That's quite an ability right there. Finally, her NP is an AoE that reduces enemy charge by 1 and as a separate overcharge effect, potentially reducing another charge by 1, meaning you can potentially reduce a total of 2 charge gauge from all enemies. I also forgot to mention, she has a very high arts passive boost and will generate 2 stars every turn. Summer BB is one of the most versatile servants in the game. She isn't without flaws, but a servant I highly recommend. One of my personal favorite servants, Achilles, is just a goddamn great servant. First off, he has a 2-hit invincibility on a 5-turn cooldown. It's like Ku's evasion. Matter of fact, it's better than Ku Alter's evasion since invincibility is better. This ability goes great with his taunt, only to survive any single target NPs. You don't really want to waste the taunt and invincibility on just regular attacks unless you absolutely need to protect someone. His taunt has an NP battery effect, charging up to 30%, making him a great farmer. It also increases NP gain, so you'll get a bit more refund if you do attack with his noble phantasm. Now, Achilles is like the definition of a quick focus servant. He possesses not 1, not 2, but possesses 3 quick boosts. His first skill, which also buffs crit damage, and him being a rider, means he has naturally high star weights. His passive skill, which gives 11% quick boost, and then you have his noble phantasm overcharge effect, which boosts quick performance before the damage. If there's 3 enemies when he uses his noble phantasm, well, it's raining stars! Achilles is just so damn consistent in what he does. Now the famous Scotty is being released the same year, further boosting his abilities, making Achilles a must-have.
天と地の狭間にて人は核あるべしとここに新たなるノリを敷く
Yo, 2020 is the year of extra class. This time is a ruler. As we know, rulers are tanks, which makes them more viable in battle. Shi Huang is a tank, team protector, damage dealer, and staller. What's crazy is that it works so well. So, like I said, he is a tank thanks to his ruler class. Now he's a team protector thanks to his own noble phantasm, which is a non-damage dealing NP by the way. Nonetheless, it's amazing since it grants him invincibility and taunt, allowing him to protect anyone from single target NP attacks. It's amazing because the two are together, you'll never mistime the activation of effects. In case of an emergency, he has a 50% NP battery, giving you that reassurance that he can protect your team at any point, as long as you have 50% already charged. The skill also heals him and removes debuffs, further helping with survivability. Shi Huang can stall enemies a bit with his potential AoE stun, but he also has an AoE charge reduction, an active skill only 3 other servants in the game possesses, one coming out 2021. Now, he isn't all support. Shi Huang can really hurt enemies with his crit roll. His NP increases his star weight to 400, it also increases his crit damage. On top of that, he has 2 attack buffs, one from his second skill, the other is an overcharge effect from his noble phantasm. To add on top of that, he has an AoE defense debuff. All you need is a servant to provide stars for him and he'll wreck enemies left and right. Shi Huang is obviously not meant for farming, but as a CQ servant, he is amazing.
空へ来たりここへ来たりゲートオブスカイ私に勝利をもたらしなさい
At this point, can you really be surprised? Scotty is only talked about like all the freaking time. I recommended art servants. Psh, don't summon cause of Scotty. I recommended a Buster servant. Psh, Buster is dead cause of Scotty. I didn't recommend a quick servant upon release. Psh, you're stupid cause of Scotty. So yeah, Scotty takes the #1 spot. Now, I don't want to overhype her too much. She's not the next Merlin or Waver, but why is Scotty good? Well, she's a versatile quick focus supporter. Her offensive buffs all revolves around quick and crit. Her first skill increases quick performance up to 50% and it'll increase crit damage for quick attacks as well. Amazing for servants with 3 normal quicks like Jack, Fuma, etc. Not to mention, her own NP also buffs crit attack. To add more damage, Scotty has an AoE defense debuff, which also debuffs their crit chance. You just never know when a stray crit will kill you. Just like all the other all-star supporters, she has a way to charge NP. Different from the others, Scotty charges 50% for one ally. It lacks the team-wide charge that Merlin or Waver offers, but Scotty's NP battery offers a servant a lot of CE flexibility. Aside from Waver, Scotty is the only other servant who can charge 50% NP for someone. This comes in handy for farming, especially event farming, where you'll need to equip a specific CE. Between her and servants who can charge their own NP, combined with other supporters like Waver, you can use NP attacks without any CEs that gives starting gauge. Scotty's NP, I'd say, isn't meant to be used right away every single time, like Merlin or Tamamo, even Waver. She offers a one-hit evasion, so using her NP back-to-back isn't smart. Aside from the crit buff, her NP is defensive in nature, so there's really no need to use it early. She can save your team from an NP attack. Unlike Merlin or Tamamo, Scotty's NP isn't her selling point. Nonetheless, it's a helpful tool to use. We have Merlin for Buster, Tamamo for Art, and now to complete the triangle, Scotty is the supporter for Quick. Now, if you're wondering why Quick is important, it's because they are insanely effective against break bar enemies. Quick NPs give some refund, crit allows you to deal more damage, and charge more NP. By using high damaging quick NP attacks, you can potentially clear 1 HP bar, then with the stars you created, deal crit damage to finish off the bar if you didn't clear it, or clear the second bar, which also would charge their NPs, depending on the cards you use, of course. Break bars will eliminate one-shot kills from busters, so quick and crit is like a new strategy for the updated mechanic. Also, a double Scotty can allow you to 3-turn farm with quick AoE DPS servants like Dantes, Achilles, or Lancelot to name a few. You'll need a K-Scope and equip Mage Association Mystic Code, charge 20% with the Master Skill, then of course use Scotty's quick buffs, then use the NP on the first wave, and you'll receive roughly 50% NP refund. So all you have to do is use one Scotty's 50% NP charge, then rinse and repeat. So that's the top 5 servants you should summon for 2020. What is your top 5 new servants for the new year? Comment down below, I'd like to know. A tremendous thanks to all my patrons for supporting me. If you want to support my channel, check out my Patreon or channel membership. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more Fates content. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and join my Discord server. All links are in the description. Have an awesome day, everyone. Till next time.